Hello, everyone. This is Will.
This is Alec.
Welcome back to another episode of They Mostly Come Out at Night.
Mostly.
Think, whatever you believe in. Think the universe. Think God. Think whatever. Oh man, I'm so glad to be back on track. Oh, it feels so nice.
No bamboozle.
Feels so good to finally watch something
That's
that
a
is
movie.
worth watching.
That's a lizard that just is pure lizard brain entertainment. But before we go too far, Will,
Oh yeah, sorry. You're right. You're right. We almost missed an important thing.
two important things.
Yes. So, first of all, like we say every time now, please subscribe to our YouTube. We're growing exponentially. We'd love it if you joined our community.
Wherever you find us.
Wherever you find us. We're on podcasting sites, YouTube. A lot of people like the YouTube stuff. So, and on YouTube, to segue in. So we're on every podcasting site, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere you can find podcasts.
Spotify, wherever.
But if you're a YouTube subscriber, you get special. You get your special members, okay?
Okay.
Because guess what you get on our YouTube? Our live streams that we haven't done in 6 months.
We have one coming on
But
Sunday.
we have one coming up on the 19th.
Yep.
And you better be there because that's the day before my birthday. So
There you go.
So even more reason to celebrate. Okay. I mean, come hang out. Say happy birthday if you want to. I mean, whatever you want to do. Let's talk movies. Let's talk anything. Let's see. Come on there and chat with us if you've seen any of the movies that we've critiqued lately. Have you seen whatever the fuck Metal Storm was? Have you witnessed that? But yeah. So anyway, it'd mean a lot to us if you went to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so that you'll get notified right when we go live.
But either way, even if you're not there when we're live,
you can watch it anytime you want.
it'll be there forever.
We will never take it down.
Exactly. It's always gonna be free.
We even have our shame live streams on there, so we haven't deleted a single one. Okay, just for prosperity.
Because we're honest. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah,
We're humble and honest. But yeah, so that's that's our spiel. So let's get on with Mausoleum. Yeah, sorry, I almost forgot the title of the which is funny because I actually like this movie. So, I don't know. It's fun.
well, the way I explained it was we had Blood Beat, which is it's like a weird dinner entree you order where there's a bunch of different ingredients and maybe they don't all work, but it wasn't bad. Maybe your stomach's a little upset, but
Yeah, you're not feeling great, but you're not feeling you're not feeling like, oh, I want to go home. Maybe the next course is going to be good.
But then and then we have Metal Storm, which was delicious appetizer, and they bring out the entree and it looks delicious, but you cut into it and it's it's either raw or just rotten.
Yeah,
It just doesn't work.
or has a little bit of something growing on
Mold.
it that you're just not sure what the hell it is.
But it's started off good and then just kills itself. And
This
then you
one-
have this, and it's just after all that, you just get yourself a nice pizza and a beer.
This is just comfort food movie.
Yeah.
It's not anything to write home about. It's not incredible, oh my god, I want to see it all the time. But it's definitely not Metal Storm.
It's just consistent.
It's consistent and it's good and the effects are great and the cinematography is they didn't need to go this ham, but they did because the cinematography is awesome.
It's fun.
The lighting is great. It's just just an entertaining hour and a half movie that doesn't waste your goddamn time and you can get through it and it's entertaining. That's all you need,
This definitely doesn't waste your time.
which I can appreciate because the last two, I mean, Bloodbeat didn't waste your time necessarily, but there's just something missing.
Coherence.
Yeah, just it didn't all mesh well. It just kind of, you just, like you said, it's you just kind of felt weird about it. I don't know, it wasn't necessarily bad, but it definitely wasn't great.
Yeah.
So
It wasn't bad, but maybe afterwards, your shits were a little off.
yeah, right.
Like that.
You're like, maybe I shouldn't have eaten that. Maybe I shouldn't have
But it
watched
tasted
that.
fine. But I
But it
don't
was
know.
fine. But I don't know. I
It's like
probably
that.
would never order it again. But
No, I don't know if I put myself through that again. It's like that. But this is just like, no, it's fine. Your shits are fine. Everything's fine.
yeah, like it's just like you get a solid shitter out of this one, and then there you go. Yeah, but like let's get into it. Mausoleum.
Well, it
So
starts off at a funeral of just there's just two people.
yeah, there's just like a preteen almost or a
She's like
teenager.
I would say preteen.
Yeah, like
Um,
she looks like preteen and like an older woman, and
and it's
the
and they're burying the preteen's mom.
yeah, and she's like upset, and so she runs away from the. I guess so. We should. I mean, it's the mom's sister.
But she's saying like, well, in the meantime, you'll live with me because your mom's like house and her estate, it doesn't transfer over to you until you're 18. So in the meantime, you have to stay with me. She's not happy.
Yep. So she runs away, and she goes to like this like, she runs through like the cemetery, and she like sees a mausoleum.
And it's like,
Well, what's weird is like, okay, so first off the bat, this is a little nitpick, but I've
oh,
never
really?
seen such a gargantuan fucking mausoleum in my entire life. It's literally a church that they
On
said
the-
was the
yeah.
mausoleum.
It's like the church on the cemetery grounds, but they're saying it's a mausoleum. But it's fine. It's for the family. The family nomad.
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 We'll get to that later.
So,
So,
you ever see Troll 2? I don't know. Not that this is. I'm not saying this is Troll 2. This is
did
much
you
better
just
than Troll
compare this to Troll 2?
2. No, but they do the same thing.
Well, okay, fair.
It's fine. I'm fine with it.
So she like runs into the mausoleum. That's a weird. That's a weird.
I'm just
comparison,
saying, when I think of movies that do that, that is unfortunately the first thing that pops in my head.
that is a fair point, but
Because-
I never expected that reference to like pop up.
It's fine. One day we will actually have to watch Troll 2 on this podcast.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't avoid it.
it's true. It has to be on this podcast. You're right.
But that, that's for a future day.
Yep. So anyway, she runs into the mausoleum.
And it's like, well, first of all, don't forget, before she runs into it, she looks at it outside, and they got the,
I was like raining only on the mausoleum,
And
and
it's
there's like
smoking.
fog everywhere.
yeah, they got the dry ice going on overtime. And she walks in, and it's just immediately green. Lots of green light and lots of, like, red.
Yeah. So she like goes down a corridor.
It's all
and
very, it's all very stylish.
she
It's all
sees
very,
this, like, sarcophagus, right?
kind of looks like a fucking Dario Argento movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's like the sarcophagus
And then
with
like
rats
starts
on it.
like slowly opening, and then you see like a shadowy figure like beckoning her into the room,
Yeah.
and she comes in the room, and like you just see like something like pop out.
Like,
Oh no,
you-
sorry, no. Before the thing pops out, we get another guy, I guess like a homeless guy or something.
I don't even know.
I don't know who it was, but anyway,
We had to
he-
have this though.
he's like, "Hey girl, what are you doing in here?"
And then he's like,
like
ugh.
he like,
He
"Ugh."
starts clutching his head.
And he walks out of the mausoleum and like starts running past the cemetery.
And his head starts smoking.
And then like the next scene is him falling over, but you can see like a flap of his like
Well, they build it up so like the music's all ramping up, and then like the music almost like crescendos, and it's almost like an exploding noise, but you don't see it. But then you see him falling down, and his head has like a giant.
I mean, this is all right, but honestly, like you know me, I'm just here for heads exploding on screen. Like,
Oh yeah.
sure, off screen is fine. I mean, it's all about the implication.
At least we got gore.
Yeah, but his head didn't explode on screen.
I
so
do wish his head exploded on screen, scanner style.
that would have been
Just 'cause,
great.
I mean, look, that's just how life is. I want to see that shit on screen.
I do too.
But we got gore.
Again, we mention this all the time. Lizard brain. People's head exploding on screen is just pure lizard brain entertainment.
Yes, I want to see all the goop.
Me too. But anyway, so she gets beckoned in, and then we see like something like come out of the sarcophagus, and it's like this clawed hand,
This demon hand.
and it's like it points at the camera, and then
Cut.
cut. So we get a guy no, we get it's the sister taking a book over to like a psychiatrist.
Yes.
Or yeah, or a therapist.
It's like a psychiatrist therapist who's been treating our girl from the beginning.
Right, because of her trauma with
since
losing.
she was a kid.
Yeah, losing her mom so early and everything.
And she's like, I think there's like stuff you need to understand about the family.
So he like takes the book and he's like, well, I'll look into it, but I don't know if this is, because I guess she thinks that this would help because it's like the family book of the nomads,
their history,
and so he like starts reading it and he's like, oh, like, there's something about like a crown of thorns and
some sort of a curse
and how to like
a curse of the firstborn woman,
and how to negate the curse you have to put the crown of thorns on the firstborn woman's head and then seal the demon in the sarcophagus.
And you mentioned earlier in that first scene that there was like a thing that looked like a pretzel hanging off the sarcophagus.
It does, because the lock blows off and it's like it blows past something that looks like a pretzel. In broad daylight, this does not look like a crown of thorns, but you know what? I'll take it.
The pretzel of thorns.
But yeah, so they've basically like given away the movie, but like
That's fine.
It doesn't really matter,
because
to be
guess
honest.
what? Carnage.
Because now you know, like, eventually what has to happen, right?
Yes.
Like, this is foreshadowing, but like in your face foreshadowing.
It's like we have the whole setup. They just give it to us right in the beginning of the movie.
Yep. They're just like, here it is. Now we're gonna kill some people.
The rest of it is just like a slow. I say slow in quotation marks.
It's not really slow because it like kind of just goes full fucking ham
but you
right,
get a build
right
up
away.
of possession. Because now she's older. She's married.
And she like visits her mom every single year. So she goes to the cemetery. She sees the mausoleum.
Mm-hmm.
And then doesn't she decide to go back in?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she decides to go back in. And the like sarcophagus is like way more open now. Mm-hmm. But it's not fully open.
Not fully.
And so
she goes home. Talks with her husband. Everything's fine there, and they have they have a gardener named Benjamin or something.
Ben.
And
didn't she kill someone at the place or no?
Cemetery? No.
Am I thinking wrong? Okay.
The first one was Grizzly Adams.
Oh, that's right.
But they have the gardener, and he's like peering.
Oh, he's a total creep.
Through like they have like the glass doors. He's peering at her through them.
Oh, that's right, because she went to she saw like something at the mausoleum, but then woke up like at the house and didn't even realize that she had gone to the mausoleum.
Yeah,
she like was like confused about like where she was
like,
at.
How did I get here?
And the husband's like, well, like what do you mean? You've been here for a while.
And they have like the gardener creeps on her. They have a dinner reservation. They go out for dinner later that night, and it's like they go to like this restaurant dance club thing. Yeah. And immediately when they walk in, there's like a guy and a girl standing at the bar, and the guy's just like staring. And then the woman with him is just like, what the fuck?
It's like, why are you staring? He's like, I was just looking at the dance floor. And like,
no, you're looking at her. What is with you? Why do you gotta be such a bitch about things? And she's just like, cause you're always like a creep.
Yeah, this guy just fucking comes in like full fucking cocked. I just like total fucking asshole.
And she just
like
walks
right
away,
out the gate.
And he's just still standing there. And then our main girl and her husband
they go dancing. And then Grizzly Adams decides he's gonna shoot his. No, not yet.
The husband gets a phone call.
Yep, and then
he's always working.
And I was like, okay, Grizzly Adams gonna shoot a shot. No, he's just a fucking asshole.
He just walks up.
He like
grabs her,
forces her to dance with him, and she like tries to push him away, and then he like
What's your problem? And then she like goes back to the table. The husband's done with his phone convo, and then she's like, let's go home. I want to go home. So they walk outside, and Grizzly Adams just like stumbles past them all fucking drunk.
And she's
angry.
like, don't worry about him. He's just drunk.
And they're waiting for their valet.
And the Grizzly Adams gets in his car.
And then our woman's eyes turn green.
Well, okay, so I'm glad this is the only scene they do this in, but
The
it
picture.
it's a picture of her with green eyes.
So they do a freeze frame of like her with green eyes. I guess they just for whatever reason in this scene they didn't feel like animating it.
What's weird in the rest of the movie, it's fully animated and it looks fine. I
There's
don't know
also
why in this
scenes
one.
later where it's not even animated. She's wearing contacts. I mean, probably didn't do that because it was probably insanely painful. But still, this is the only scene where for some reason we just have a picture.
Yep. So like we just see like flames in the back of his car, and he starts burning alive inside of his
And the
car.
husband like sees the car on fire. He runs over, tries to open the door.
Tries to open the door, tries to like get the guy out, and like can't get out, so he like backs up, and the whole fucking car explodes.
Yep.
And then,
It's just next scene. Everything's fine.
yep, next scene, everything's a-okay.
And it's like the husband's at work, and the gardener.
The gardener's
is,
gonna shoot his shot.
He's walking around with his belly button open.
What? Yeah, he fucking has like his just stomach like exposed for no reason.
And he's just walking around, and the wife is like, she's like,
Well, she's okay. So she's like getting ready for the day, and the gardener comes in and was like, "Hey, like, where's your husband? Is he at the office? How late is he gonna be?" It's like it starts like just insinuating crazy shit right out the gate. And he's like, "Could I trouble you for a cup of coffee?" And like gets a cup of coffee, and then he like starts like you can see he's like undressing her with his eyes, and he takes the cup of coffee. And he like goes out, and you can tell he like wants her, and like
and
like,
she starts like, she's like in the house now, and we get like the demon sound effects.
yeah. What's weird is like she's like repulsed by him at first, and then like starts like thinking about it, and like
We get the demon sound effects.
yep. So she starts like opening her blouse a little bit,
And she gets the green eyes, and like all the doors on the
start
house
shuddering,
shaking.
and she's like looking out like with her like blouse open.
And he's just like, what the fuck?
And he
Like,
goes
looking
to
at
the
house.
door, and she like answers it with like cleavage up the fucking wazoo.
And and he's
And
just
he's
"Are
like more
you-"
freaked out than anything. He's like, "What is going on? Like, what did you
hear
hear
that?
all that?"
She's like, no,
She's like, "What? I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what's going on?"
get back to work.
Yep. So like, he goes back to work, working on his stump.
We see a bunch of like shots of like
This is so weird. I
him
don't.
going about his day.
They just really went for it. They're like, we're gonna show the gardener on his lunch break reading a gardening magazine.
A big gardening book. We
We're
see
gonna-
him spreading like sod. We see him taking a nap
He's
on their
taking a
dock.
nap on their dock.
And eventually, we just get a fucking shot of her like in the shower, and she's done taking a shower, so she puts a towel on, and she walks out to the balcony,
With a glass of wine,
and just like
and just undresses for the dude.
undresses for the dude, and he's just like, oh, and he walks in.
Well, he walks in and she walks in too, and you see like the glass shatter because
Yeah.
there's so much like it starts making this high
There's
pitched
so much
noise,
demon energy.
and then like it shatters. So she goes downstairs and lets him in. He's like, finally, I knew you wanted this. Like I knew
then-
like,
Well, they say like
do you want to do it like
in the.
in what does he say in the tennis court first?
She's like, no,
No, and then he's like, okay,
bedroom?
the bedroom.
no,
No,
and she's like looks over, and he's like, the garage.
he's like, why
Yes.
didn't I think of that?
Why did I think of that? They go in the garage and, they kiss, they undress, and it's like post sex, and he's all like, "Oh, that was good. I've had many women, but that was amazing." And you played
That-
rough, and he
that
has like
was the best.
scratches on his arm, and she's just like laying there, not facing him, and her eyes are glowing green.
He's like, I have a few more tricks up my sleeve. Let's get down to business. Like, let's do it again.
"Let's go."
He's like ready and raring, right? So he tries to roll her
He's
over.
like, "Okay, let's go."
And he like lays down, and she like gets on top of him and hit her eye, and she's like kind of like it's a silhouette of like a demon face.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's wrong with your face? And she like holds up a fucking
It's like that garden tool.
it's like a garden hoe, like a garden claw thing.
Yeah, it's like the little claw thing they use for dirt.
Yeah.
And she puts her fucking like she has a demon hat now. She like puts it on his head and she's like, the only one going is you, bitch.
He fucking got roasted by a demon right before he died.
Yeah, she stabs him and we get a bunch of blood like off screen. But yeah, she had to roast him before he dies.
The only one going is you, bitch. I love this. I lost it. I cannot believe
that they did that.
They did that. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong. I loved it, but the only one going is you, bitch.
And then that's it. Like it just ends, and then it's like next, like, and then it's like the next. It's like that night, and the husband comes home, and she's just like on the couch, all fucking horny, and so they get their groove on. And then it's like next day, and
he's
what
like,
happens?
So he's.
Oh yeah, he wakes up and he's like putting on clothes, and he hears like talking.
No, remember he also. Isn't this where he sees her like demon face, or is that later?
I think that's after this.
Okay.
But yeah, he's like it's like the morning, and he's getting ready, and he hears like talking. He hears someone saying like he hears like someone arguing with somebody like back and forth. He walks downstairs, and she's just in the kitchen.
She's like, no, nothing's wrong. What do you mean?
I wasn't talking to anybody.
He's like, okay, well, I gotta go early, and I'll be late again.
I don't have time to eat, but like, you know, I'll be home whenever. And she's like, oh, that's fine. My sister's like my mom's sister is coming over.
And they have like a housemaid that they send to get groceries. It's just like a little scene, but it just introduces her. My favorite character of the entire movie.
The most logical character.
The most logical character and the most realistic character possibly I've ever seen in a horror movie. Yep. So, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. That's not this scene.
Not yet.
So she sends her away to get some groceries. So she's completely alone in the house, and the mom's sister is coming over.
And she comes over, and she walks in, and immediately, like, there's doors closing, there's noises, weird shit.
She's looking for her, and she's like, where have you gone?
And she walks upstairs. She has, like, a file folder for something. And she walks upstairs.
What is she trying to get her to sign?
I don't remember.
I can't remember what it was.
I was too busy waiting for her to get wrecked to pay attention, unfortunately.
Well, you got your wish.
I did get my wish.
She sees the girl in blue and, like, full demon face, like, holding her hand out.
Oh, God. God can't help you.
God can't help you. And, like levitates her over the awning.
First off, yeah, we get the slow-mo shot of her, like, file folder, like, dropping, and, like, all the papers just slow-mo falling over the, like, banister.
She, like, levitates the woman over the awning.
Yeah.
And, like, rips her in half, it's implied.
Well, I mean, we do get, like...
Like, her chest starts, like, breaking apart.
Breaking open, and that's it. Yeah. She, like, rips her in half.
So our dude comes back.
And, you know, everything's supposedly fine. And this is when they go to bed.
Yeah, and he wakes up in the middle of the night, and she's on, like, a rocking chair. And, like, you can see the silhouette of her, like, demon face.
Yeah, doesn't look like her. And he, like, wakes up and, like, is kind of freaked out. So he leaves the room, and you just see her turn. And it does the fucking demon noise.
Yep. And so he calls the therapist.
He's like, hey, you have to see her.
He's like, you have to see her, and I think you should see her right now. And he's like, no, like, have her come, like, meet me tomorrow at 2, and I'll try and do, like, a hypnosis on her and see what's going on.
And so they have that, they make an appointment, and in the meantime, it's like the next day, and the fucking maid is there. He's like, hey, I need you to, like, take real good care of her.
And she's like, no, I have something with my sister.
She's like, no, trust me, like, this, you need to fucking do this right now. Like, shit's going down. You have to do this. He's like, okay, fine. And he leaves. Well, he's about to leave, and she, like, goes upstairs, and she's like...
Well, I love, she sees the fog, and she's like, there's some weird shit going on in this house.
She runs downstairs to, like, meet the husband, and he drives away, and she's like, God damn it.
She's like, God damn it. And she, like...
She goes back
she's like, oh, no, she says, son of a like, what is it? Like...
Mother,
father, Like I can't remember what it was, but it was like mother, father, something.
And she goes back in the kitchen and gets herself a drink.
Yeah, and she's like, I haven't drink, I haven't been this Wait, what was it?
I haven't been, I haven't been this nervous since I was black.
Yeah, and she takes like 2 drinks, and she's like, I haven't drank since I found religion, you know.
Oh Lord.
Oh Lord.
And then she goes back upstairs, like, okay, okay. She goes back upstairs. There's still like all the fucking fog and green light, and she just opens the door to like the room and hears like,
I love how she opens it like a crack, right?
and then she hears like demon breathing.
And then again, most logical person in a horror movie I've seen in a very long
She
time.
just closes the door and is like, okay, that's enough of that.
She's like, yep, and no, and then she legitimately just leaves.
You see her like
She just nopes out of the movie.
run down the stairs, and then the next shot is her outside the door with all of her bags packed, just getting the fuck out.
I mean,
That's it.
I mean, same. Like, I wouldn't stay.
That's how the scene ends, and then it's like, and then she goes to the like, and then it's like her like getting ready to go to the psychiatrist, and the husband there, and he's like, I don't know, like like that gardener's not here, and the
like,
maid's not here, and she's like, oh
No
well,
one's here.
you know how the gardener is, just call him later.
One, she's like sleeping in, and like she like will like be sleeping at like 6 o'clock in the afternoon and stuff like that.
But she gets dressed, goes to the psychiatrist, and he's just gonna do a hypnosis on her because she keeps having
I mean,
nightmares
it's
and
a
all this stuff.
possession movie. You know how this is gonna go.
I mean, I was almost expecting them to get a fucking exorcist in this thing, but they didn't go. I guess that was too cliche. But
I mean, this scene's pretty fucking cliche.
it's fine. Someone had to know.
So he like hangs a crystal in front of her and starts hypnotizing her. She falls asleep, reverts back to her like childhood self, and is like
She
at
doesn't
the
wanna stay
cemetery.
with her aunt.
And then she like says she sees the mausoleum, and he's like, okay, like what do you
What's going
see?
on?
And then like the demon starts like her eyes start glowing, and she
You
opens
didn't
her eyes.
believe in the existence of
And
me.
her teeth are all yellow, and she's like, "You didn't think I exist. You,
And he's like,
you will see."
okay, I will count to 3 and you will go back to normal.
He's like the most calm motherfucker.
Well, the
I've
funniest
ever
thing is
seen.
like after she goes back to normal, she's like, oh, how was it? And he's just like,
Yeah,
fine.
fine,
That's fine.
Yeah, fine. Probably have to change my pants, but it's fine. It's
she
fine.
leaves, and then he like calls like, I guess another psychiatrist, and he's like, hey, I need help.
It's like it's another psychiatrist, but she like believes more in like
Crazy shit.
like exorcisms and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Because he basically was telling her like, yeah, like it's all seemed like a normal like schizophrenia,
And even like,
but I saw her eyes fucking
he plays her the tape, and she's like, I don't think she could have made that noise by herself, and all this stuff.
And he tells her like her eyes were green.
And she's like, what I'm going to tell you to do next, you're not going to like because it doesn't follow like the scientific code.
And then basically, because he's had that book all this time of like the family history, and she's like, it's right there.
She's like, you need to put the crown of thorns on her and then seal the sarcophagus.
And then seal the sarcophagus. You have to do all this. In the meantime, they get another gardener person.
Well, this is just a delivery guy.
Yeah, and
He's just delivering plants.
a plant, and he delivers the plant. And of course, like before she opens the door, she like opens her blouse.
This is it's so close to being like a porn opening
Like the
scene.
beginning
It's
of a
weird.
porn scene.
It's really weird.
I've come to deliver a plant. Oh,
When it's like this long,
ooh, that's long.
like,
I don't know.
skinny plant.
I don't know if that'll fit. Well, I'll make it fit.
Don't worry, I'll dig a deep enough hole for you.
But
Jesus.
he just delivers it. He's like, "Hey, I gotta deliver this plant." He's like, "Oh, I didn't order a plant." And she's just like, got her fucking cleavage hanging out. And then the guy's like, "Listen, I just deliver. I don't make you work."
Sorry.
She's like, "Well, there's maybe something wrong. I think you have to make a phone call. The phone's in the kitchen. Follow me." He's like, "Okay." And the whole time she's just like doing all the fucking gestures, and then go in the kitchen, and he just like immediately like grabs her, and she's like, wait, make the phone call first.
Make the phone call.
He's like, oh, come on. Come on. And he's like, no.
He's like,
make the phone
why
call
won't
first.
you? Why won't you do this? And he's like, so he goes over to the phone,
He's like, fine.
and he's like, fine. So he puts the phone up to his ear, and like starts like shaking,
and starts bleeding out of his ear. And the next thing is like,
Damn it! I got something stuck in my throat. Sorry.
do you need a gardener?
I do.
Do you need to?
Yes, please. Okay, there we go. Jesus. Sorry.
As they would say in movies like this, I got a cure for that.
Yep. So he starts bleeding all over the phone, and then his like the left side of his face like just starts melting, and you see his like eyes inside his skull.
Well, he like touches his, his hand over it, and then he looks at his hand, and his eyeballs like
On his hand.
on his hand, along with all this blood, and he just is like screaming. Then he dies.
Yep.
Again, I love how almost all the deaths in this movie are completely 100% pointless, and I love it.
Oh, it's great. Like, you don't even care about any of the
It does
characters.
not add to
There's
the
no
plot at
development
all.
for any of the characters that die.
And I love that. It's just there to please our brain.
What's a possession movie? You gotta have deaths.
But usually the deaths are like people that the characters know.
Usually, but this one, who cares?
In this one, they're like, ah, fuck it. You want entertainment? Here you go.
Here you go.
And they're right.
You want people dying? You got it.
And he dies. Husband comes home. He sees the fucking blood on the phone and is like, hey, honey, are you okay?
And she's like sleeping, and it's like 5, and he's like trying to wake her up. He's like, you're not okay. Like, you've been sleeping
And she's like,
all
leave
day.
me alone. And all this stuff. And like, I don't want to talk. I'm tired of this. And
So he goes down and he calls the doesn't he call the therapist?
yeah. And the therapist is like,
No, he doesn't get a hold of the therapist.
no, he doesn't. But the therapist does end up getting in contact with him later and then he tells him he has a meet up with him and like his assistant person.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell him like the plan, like your wife's not your wife. She's
Yeah.
possessed. And as they're explaining basically everything that we know, the audience, in the meantime, we get shots of her walking around a mall.
Yep.
And eventually she goes into like a...
Well, so there's some foreshadowing here because she walks past a table that has all these iron, like, statues and spikes. And so she thinks that's interesting, so she goes and she ends up in an art gallery.
And there's a painting that really tickles her fancy.
Oh, she loves it.
And she's just like, I want this.
And the guy's like, well, we already sold it, but I can show you other ones that
She's
are...
like, no, I want this. She's like, well, listen, it's not my choice. Like, it's already sold.
And while he's distracted with someone else, she, like, takes it and, like, runs off with
and
it.
he's like, hey, like, what are you doing? And he runs after her, and she just turns around and green eyes him.
Just fucking levitates him over the fucking, like, balcony of the fucking mall.
And then he just hovers over this table with the spikes, and of course you're just like, oh.
You know exactly what's gonna happen.
She drops him.
And, like, a giant fucking... Like, I don't even think that spike was there, to be honest. But
It
I don't care.
was so huge.
Yeah, I don't even care. Like,
I don't even care. It was, like, comically huge.
it was so fucking large.
It was hilarious.
And it, like, impales his fucking whole abdomen, basically.
And then we get, like, just, like, beauty shots of, like, his hand hanging there. And
the
like,
blood, like, dripping on the lens of the camera.
and then it drips, like, on, like, the tile. It just keeps dripping and dripping.
It's so stylish.
It's just
like,
in there for beauty shots. It's great. And then
They were really proud of those shots, so...
And then again, like the husband's home and he sees the painting. He's like, "What the hell is this?" He's like, "I just wanted it."
He, like, gets pissed off at her, and he's like, you know, like, you're not the same. I don't know what's going on with you, basically.
And then, like later on,
She's in the bathtub.
and everything seems fine. She's like, "Sorry, I've been so weird." All this stuff.
And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, too. Like, you know, I've just been really stressed out, and...
And it's the night that they're gonna do their thing.
Yes.
Their. I mean, I was
Exorcism,
gonna say
almost?
exorcism, but I guess. But everything seems fine. She starts kissing him. They're all making out, and then we get like a shot of like the guy driving, like to the fucking house or whatever.
Yeah.
Or not the house. He's driving to the mausoleum because he has to physically go there and grab the crown of thorns. And so he's driving, and and then it just cuts, and like the husband's all screaming. There's like a crunching noise.
Well, no, so it's not.
Oh yeah.
So no,
Right.
So they make up and they're like starting to kiss and everything, and he's hugging her,
And
And
the doctor
the
drives up to the
doctor like
mausoleum.
goes up to the mausoleum and is about to touch the crown of thorns, and we see the woman's Jesus. Where's a gardener when you need one? So he's about to like grab the crown of thorns off the gate, and her eyes start
Yeah.
glowing green, and she starts turning into a demon. And he like takes the crown of thorns off, and then you hear a crunch. That's when you hear the
I
crunching
hear the crunching,
sound.
and I'm like, what is she? Is she biting him? What's going on?
And like he like leans back, and you see his like chest is all like
Well, not yet.
torn
We see like
open.
a shot of like her like holding him.
Oh, and she's turning like she's like has like grayish skin
Yeah.
now.
Almost reminded me of the fucking scene in The Shining in the room.
And then he's like yelling and everything, and like
The crunching noise.
He stumbles back, and his like chest is like ripped open,
Ripped open. You see like bones.
and he like falls into the bathtub and like just dies.
And then you see her, and she's like in full
Demon. And like
This is
okay,
okay.
I've never seen this in a movie ever. So we're like, what the hell crunched his fucking like
Yeah.
chest open? And then like you see it, and you see these two
Demon titties
demon titties like just like
moving, like nomming.
like nomming the air. I'm not even kidding.
And it is like,
It has demon titties.
and it's like fully like, you know, animated, animatronic and everything.
Fully animatronic demon titties.
And that's what crunched his chest open.
It is so like wild.
I loved that.
It's amazing, to be honest. Like I've never seen anything like that.
I haven't either. And
Like her titties literally crunched his fucking chest
what was
open.
it you said? That was that was a hell of a motorboat.
That was, yeah, one hell of a motorboat, my dude.
That was a motorboat of a
Hell
lifetime,
yeah.
man.
You know what?
You can't come back from that one.
A motorboat that'll send you straight to fucking God. Oh
Jesus.
my god.
I can't believe they did that. But the doctor shows up, and we get like shots of like her in full demon makeup.
Yeah, she's like lurking around the house, and he like looks around. He gets like spooked by a cat,
And then he finds the dead body.
and then he finds the dead body, and he's like gonna go up into like the attic because he hears her like singing.
She's singing with a doll.
Oh, she's humming, and then she's like slamming the doll down. She's getting angry and like sad, and
And
like
there's like this chest, and every time this chest is open, we get the stylish
like the green light just
Italian
blasting
horror
over everything.
light on her. And he goes upstairs, and she's just like talking like, "Mommy loved this house."
Well, she's talking like the child,
Yeah.
right? Like she's not like her adult self.
"Oh, hi, Uncle so and so. Where's blah blah blah?"
She even at one point puts the cloak on from the beginning, and
Yeah.
she's like, "Look at what I found."
"How does this look?" And
He's like, "Why are you doing this?"
"Why are you doing this?" And she's like, "Mommy loved this house, and mommy and daddy love this house, and all this stuff."
And he eventually like gets closer to her, and he like starts confronting the demon at this point, and he's like, "I'm gonna show you," and like the demon starts coming out, and
I'm
it's
gonna
like,
do what your ancestor
what your father was too afraid to do.
what your father was too afraid to do.
And so he takes up the crown of thorns really quick and like slams it on her head.
And then she's basically like,
This is wild. Like
it's like they do like it's almost like a split screen, because it's like half of her face, and it's like kind of demonic, and then the other half of her face is just full demon.
yeah, and it's like doing this weird blurring effect, and it's her transforming, but it looks really wild. It looks really crazy.
And then it's like she's fine, at least her body's fine. She just collapses, and then she's like, "Where am I?" He's like, "We gotta go." And we get like shots of like a demon
Like,
wandering through
the mausoleum because it's going back into the sarcophagus.
And then they drive back. They go in there, and then she sees the demon just sitting there in the fucking sarcophagus.
And he's like, "You have to seal it. You're the one that has to do
You're
that."
the one who summoned it. You have to finish it. And then she takes the crown of thorns, and like it keeps like going back and forth. Where like she turns back into her younger self, and then back into her current self, and then back and forth, and then the demon lies down in the fucking sarcophagus. She gives it the crown of thorns and says
seals
good night.
Seals the sarcophagus.
Seals it.
And then you think everything's fine.
And then they're leaving.
And they're visiting her mother's grave again.
Well, they're leaving, and like the guy like sits her in the car, and then walks to where the mother's grave is, and you see like a guy in cloak
With like flowers.
and he's like, you've known about this, like your father knew about this, your ancestors knew, like you can't let anybody into the mausoleum. And then he walks back, and the camera like
Pans
pans
up to the
around.
guy. And it's the fucking gardener.
And it's the fucking gardener in a
Like
twist that I still
that I don't really understand.
that is still like so fucking weird and baffling.
Like, was he the guy in the beginning with the cloak? Because we never
was your
saw
theory.
his face. So
Because in the beginning, there's like a cloaked figure that beckons her young like self to the sarcophagus. And we see like a cloaked figure like beckoning her.
well, it has to be something like that because obviously these aren't protectors of the sarcophagus because like he let her in and like beckoned her to the sarcophagus to take off the crown of thorns that was sealing the demon in.
Mm-hmm.
So something sinister was going on, but I don't know why it was the gardener because you saw him die.
I have no idea, but I mean, well, because after they reveal him, he like laughs at the camera.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I mean, I feel like it has to be like the cloaked figure, because I feel like the reason he's laughing is because like him or those cloaked figures are the ones who like beckon the firstborn women of the Nomad family
Yeah.
into the mausoleum. Oh, by the way, we forgot the fucking epic reveal where we find out Nomad is demon spelled backwards.
Oh, we did forget that, yeah.
And I had my fucking Nilbog goblin Troll 2 moment. Yes, Troll 2 is not even about trolls, it's about goblins. So we'll get to that. But I was like, oh. Because I was like, what the fuck kind of name is Nomad? And now I get it. Demon. Fucking demon. I feel like it is the cloak figure, though. And he's
I
just
feel like he is.
And,
like,
and all the cloaked figures are just like giant trolls.
yeah.
And they exist to just troll the world by making firstborn women of this family become demonic, and then every horny male that comes in contact with them gets violently killed.
What a fucking legacy.
In addition to like some collateral damage, like
Yeah. What a fucking legacy.
that's fine. Listen, the movie has a message
It does.
of being a little too thirsty is extremely bad for your health.
I just think, well, I mean, to be honest, that's a lot of slasher. Like,
But this especially. Though to
it's
be
almost
fair,
like a succubus in a way.
most slashers, the deaths are like people that you know in the movie. But
Well,
in this movie, they were just like, you know what? Fuck it. Horny guy number 1, horny guy number 2, horny guy number 3,
Yeah.
and some
And they're
collateral
just all
damage.
randos that die.
And it's great. I'm fine with that. I still don't know what the fuck the deal is with the gardener at the end. Like, if the director's still alive or if the writer's still alive and you fucking hear this podcast.
Can you just explain? Are we right? Is it the gardener the whole time?
What was there like a deeper meaning to this, or did you just write this because as like a fucking hee-haw moment?
I mean, either way, to be honest, I'm okay with it. Like, it wasn't like movie breaking.
No.
But I
It's
just
not.
want to know what is going on.
It's no Metal Storm.
Jesus Christ.
All this movie needed to win was to not fucking completely ruin the ending, and it didn't, thankfully.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
Because I do like the ending.
I honestly think the whole movie is pretty solid. It makes enough sense to keep it going along. Sure, there might be, I don't know, like if you want to be really nitpicky, there might be some continuity issues. I don't know, but like I wasn't paying.
I mean, the
attention
only
to
thing I
that.
think you could nitpick it about is the fact that like there is so little like character depth to this thing.
Oh, no one has any depth.
It's so minimal. It's
They're-
so minimal that it's hilarious.
All the characters are very surface level, including the main woman that gets possessed by the demon. You don't know anything else about
Nothing,
her by
nothing.
the end of the movie.
Not
You
the
have
husband.
You have no idea what any of the motivations are for any of these people.
Possession.
That's it.
That's it.
And that's why it's so simple, but it kind of works for this movie because it's only an hour and a half, and it just like
It
just
doesn't waste
goes.
your time. It didn't need to waste your time with like exposition or insane like character building moments or which I mean it's like those aren't bad things, but for a movie like this, sometimes you just like I said, sometimes you just need a pizza and beer.
Yeah, just a comfort movie. And this is what it is.
And that's all you and
That's
what
all
we
this
got.
is. It's just the cinematography is great. I actually legitimately think it's like top tier, like lighting,
I wish
cinematography, and like it just looks really cool.
It
Like
does.
this whole movie looks really
I
cool.
wish because like the version we watched is kind of funny because on Prime it's a HD version, and that's like I mean technically yes it is HD in that you got all the pixels,
the film quality is just horrible though. Like,
but the
to be
film
honest.
quality is like it's not cleaned up.
Whoever remastered, like whoever like got the rights to this, did not even try.
I would be very interested in seeing like an actual fully remastered version
Oh, I bet you it looks so good.
because I want to see like all those like nighttime scenes and like all the shadows. And
Well, I
all
want to
that
see
stuff.
like that mall scene in full like HD.
The mall scene, like all the mausoleum scenes, like 'cause
Yeah.
even in the shitty, like scratchy quality, it still looks cool.
You can tell they really like cared about like how this film looked.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of stylish like choices made. Like they were very concerned with how this movie looked,
they were very concerned with pleasing our baby lizard brains.
and I think they achieved it. Honestly.
100%.
So shitty to pretty, what would you give this?
I'm gonna give it an old reliable, just because I mean, it's not mind blowing, amazing, but it is a lot of fun. I'm gonna give it an 8.
8 is a good. I think 8 is a good like just like yeah, like you said, old
Comfort.
reliable.
Like, just simple movie.
Except it made me have a coughing fit and
Apparently,
continued to cough throughout the series. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I don't know. Like eight's a good. I think eight's a great rating. It's it's not mind meltingly good. Like where I was like, oh my god, I need to buy that. Like
it's not the
so
best
good.
possession movie we've had,
No.
because that probably would go to Amityville too. But
Yeah.
for like a simple low budget thing, I mean, most of this movie is literally one location. And usually with movies like this, I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake, like you literally couldn't get anything other than a house.
No, they really worked it.
But
They did a good job.
There's enough style and flair that's fun.
Yeah.
And again, it's just there is a constant stream of deaths.
It's like almost like a possession slasher movie,
100%. And
which
I
is
appreciate
great. Which I'm here for, to be
Which
honest.
It's like, hey, I love slasher movies.
I'm totally here for that. So
Yeah.
you know what? Play on, please, Mausoleum.
Please.
So if you want to watch this for yourself, like you mentioned before, it is on Prime, HD rentals, $2.99. If you have Shudder, it's for free.
Yeah.
So if you have a
and,
Shudder subscription, you can watch this whenever you want.
pretty sure it's the same quality.
It is the same quality because we rented. I don't know. We rented the HD version, which isn't
Like I said,
HD, but
it's all the pixels, but
yeah. But anyway, so like if you want to watch it yourself, and I do actually would recommend this movie if you just want like a quick, entertaining like Exorcist movie.
yeah.
It's pretty good, and you could do a lot worse, to be honest. Like the last two movies we watched, so. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's Mausoleum. That's all I got.
That's it. Be there on Sunday.
Yep,
At
Sunday.
around 1 p.m. Mountain time.
Holiday/birthday live stream.
We're gonna have a big one, and well, not a big one. I mean,
To be fair, it's probably gonna be our last like podcast thing until until the new year.
until the new year, yeah.
Yeah, like not on purpose, but we probably have to take a break because we have holiday shit going on, so it's like
Life happens.
we have lives too.
Unfortunately,
Like we wish this was
we
our
could
life,
do this all day.
but it's not. So, you know what? You just have to bear with us, okay?
Yeah. Hey, listen, you got 100. You'll have after this one 187 episodes
Yeah,
of podcasts.
probably over 200 on our
If you
YouTube.
wanna count
if
the
you want to
fucking
count,
live
and you want
streams.
to count our live streams,
Oh, honey,
you have like countless hours of content. If you're
Of
new here,
absolute bullshit.
go just watch all our old shit. I
Yeah.
mean, don't go too far back because that's a little embarrassing. But
Yeah, don't watch the first episode or the second.
or like just the first like 20. Just skip all of them. Okay, like just skip all of them.
Listen, the 70s were a rough time for everybody, us included. Okay?
Yeah, we finally found our cadence, so it's good. But yeah, so be there on Sunday. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna
Yeah.
be really fun. Not for us particularly, but it'll be fun.
It'll be a good time for like the first half, and then
And then won't.
we'll slowly die.
Yeah.
As always.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. All right. So for They Mostly Come Out at Night, this has been Will,
This has been Alex.
and we will talk to you all later.
Later. The only thing going, Will,
The only thing goes
is you,
you
bitch.
Yo, bitch.
You bitch.
bitch.